J.J. Watt will start today on the sideline, but he's going to be in the game when the Houston defense takes the field. For more on that, let's check in with Peter Schrager.
Thanks, Tom. J.J. Watt missed all of training camp, all of preseason. He's playing today, recovering from that surgery. The word pitch count has been used. That's not the case. The Texans are going to go series by series. He won't play every play, but Romeo Crennel said it's going to be difficult getting him off the field.
Well, not only the back surgery on the 21st of July, but last year, as many of you know, he played the entire year with a torn or partially torn groin and a broken hand. So here we go. There's one to toss. Chose to defer to the second half. And we're underway as Connor Barr spins it away, and Tyler Irvin, the rookie, out of San Jose State. A good return up to the 27-yard line and making his Houston Texans debut. Grew up in Montana, 25-year-old Brock Osweiler. Went to Arizona State University. He played there, started there his junior year, his only full year in college, declared for the draft. Chosen by Denver in the second round. For 3 years backed up Peyton Manning. Started 7 games last year. And despite that inexperience, he gets a 4-year deal for $72 million. That's Lamar Miller, the former Dolphin, who gets the ball on first down. And a good carry up to the 35-yard line, a gain of 8.
A lot of this game is going to be about Brock Osweiler and his first appearance in Houston. And you think throwing the ball, this game's going to be about Houston and how well they run it too.
Fake it one way, Osweiler rolling the other. His first pass is a Texan complete. C.J. Fedorowicz, a tight end, and a first down. It's a good start.
It's an excellent start because Bill O'Brien as a head coach wants to run the football. Over the last 2 seasons, they've run the ball second in the league in number of attempts, but they're not getting the yards per carry that they want. They're averaging about 3.7. They bump that up over 4. That opens up the passing lanes even more for Osweiler.
Texans 9-7 a season ago. That was good enough to win the AFC South for the 3rd time in the last 5 years. Dump it off to Miller. He is so dynamic. He only touched the ball about 14, 15 times per game in Miami last year. He might come close to doubling that number in Houston this year.
Yeah, no question about it. They didn't give a number about that. I mean, we haven't had something like that since Mike Tice had that Randy Moss formula. Remember about how many times they get it to him? But you're exactly right. They want him to touch it not just in the run game, but as we saw, they were catching it out of the backfield.
Miller already his 3rd touch. And not much running room there. A gain of maybe 1.5 yards and 2. It'll bring up the first 3rd down for the Texans on this opening drive. Great to be back with you, my friend, here in 2016. Great place to start it. This is where it will all end. Right here on Fox with the Super Bowl.
We heard Terry Bradshaw talk about the Alpha and the Omega, right? The beginning and the end. Begins here in Houston. It ends there. Right back, excuse me, ends right back here in Houston.
Ram. 3rd down and 2. 4-man rush. Osweiler escapes, trying to run his way to a first down. He has it and more. Down to the 37-yard line. A Texans first down. He broke away from Mitch Unrein.
So Unrein is going to come from the middle of the pack right here, and he's the first one to create pressure. Look at him, nice little swim move inside, and he beat Xavier Su'a-Filo. But what you get with Osweiler is better athleticism than you think for a package that's that tall and long. See him shrug off Unrein. Surprising strength there.
6th play of the drive. It's Miller for a yard, maybe 2, wrapped up by the rookie, the number 1 pick out of Georgia, Leonard Floyd. He wears number 94.
Keep an eye on him being used in not just situations, but sometimes even in their base defense, because they really like what he brings to the table in terms of speed off the edge, and they're trying to get him indoctrinated into everything. He plays stronger than he looks because of his length, able to keep blockers off of him with his long arms.
The Bears made significant inroads defensively under Vic Fangio a season ago. All day to throw, and into traffic, and it's intercepted. How about that? Tracy Porter the veteran out of Indiana. The interception at the 25-yard line.
And Tracy Porter is a wily veteran. And look at him working with DeAndre Hopkins, one of the better players in the league. Porter stays right with him. Osweiler tries to force one in, and Porter wins the early battle.
Early interception after a solid start to the opening drive, thrown by Osweiler, the veteran Porter. Taking it away, and now Jay Cutler and the Bears on offense from the 25, and one of the backs trying to fill the shoes of Matt Forte as Jeremy Langford to gain a 4.
And Tom, I think we saw Brock Osweiler just a little too pumped up to start, trying to get it to his #1 receiver, but Tracy Porter's had excellent coverage and frees it right there. He had an opportunity to take a check down here, a check down there, and there. 3 guys that he was available, but he forced it in, trying to make sure he got it to his #1 guy. An early error, but I think a lot of that is wanting to prove things to people early.
Jay Cutler is 33 years young, out of Santa Claus, Indiana. Originally drafted by Denver, it's hard to believe he is making his 98th career start as a Bear. That was nearly an interception, but instead, it's a reception. Alshon Jeffrey with the interception.
And Andre Howell had the coverage coming inside, folks. To the left of your screen, Howell just sitting on it, sees it all the way, pulls the trigger, and doesn't quite get the football. Tracy Porter got the one he went after with Hopkins. Andre Howell didn't get the one he went after with Alshon Jeffrey.
So a first down carry, and once more it's Langford, the second-year back out of Michigan State. Last year, Langford ran for 3.5 yards per carry, the second leading rusher behind the perennial standout Forte, who's now with the New York Jets. And they're going to play the hot hand. Langford will get the first dibs on the running back. We'll see Kadeem Carey and the rookie Jordan Howard. Langford again tripped up by Jadeveon Clowney. They're hoping he can stay healthy for a full year. Charles, hard to believe he's still only 23. #1 pick 2 years ago.
And what we're seeing early out of him is he's not lining up as an outside linebacker as he's tried to do early in his career. They've got him back at his comfortable defensive end spot, hand down in most situations, and he came down the line and spilled that play.
So now 3rd down and 7 for Cutler and the Bears. Out of the shotgun. Good protection, good throw. And the catch made into Houston territory by Eddie Royal.
How about this veteran, Royal, number 19 in blue, working to the outside to the right of your screen. He missed all the preseason, had a concussion, didn't play in any of it. This is his first action. Look at Jay Cutler. As you mentioned, Tom, excellent protection. Fires and finds Royal. They have a connection all the way back to the Denver Broncos, and it paid off there.
Cutler 50 wins against 47 losses in his regular season starts as a Bear. Took him to the NFC Championship game in 2010. Look at that throw. Was that catch made? It was by Jeffrey. Now here's a guy, if he's healthy, look out. Played from start to finish in just 8 games last year.
And when they have him, they're a different team, because anytime you put the ball in the air and it's a 50-50 ball, Alshon Jeffrey's expected to come down with it.
Penalty flag down, a gain of 2. We wait on the flag. Pete Morelli.
False start, number 13 offense. 5-yard penalty remains, first down.
Kevin White a little eager there, but look at this. Watch it. See, Kevin Johnson, number 30, never sees the ball. And because Jay Cutler saw the back of his helmet, he made the throw there, because there's an adage. If you see the back of the helmet of a defender, that means your guy's open, because he can't locate the football. Put it up there for Jeffrey and came down with a nice reception.
7th play of the Chicago opening drive. Great protection to the end zone, incomplete. And a penalty flag in the corner of the end zone. Kareem Jackson there in the corner with Jeffrey.
Pass interference, number 25 defense. Automatic first down.
And partner, we have the same thing here. Watch Kareem Jackson, number 25. He's going to make a play, but he can't find the football. See, he's just looking at Jeffrey. So he doesn't even know if the ball's in the air or not, and he gets his body into Jeffrey late, and that's an easy call for the officials. Twice now, the defensive backs not locating the football.
And Cutler fired up after that 20-yard penalty, makes it 1st and goal at the Texans 5. Langford trying to dive into the end zone, appears to be just short, maybe by about a foot.
And this is a revamped offensive line, isn't it, partner?
Oh, you're not lying.
And we're talking about to the right is Kyle Long at number 75, Bobby Massey 70, Cody Whitehair, the rookie, number 65, starting at center. And they did an excellent job matching up with the front of Houston and creating a hole, and Langford almost gets in.
It's the 2nd year in a row the Bears reshuffle the deck on their offensive line the Sunday before the season opener. Langford stood up but gets into the end zone, and Chicago on the board. After the takeaway by Porter, they march 75 yards for the score.
Watch the surge by the guys in blue. They get the leverage. They get lower than the guys in the white and create space. Look at that. And all you need is just a little sliver for Jeremy Langford to barrel in for the initial score of the year.
Well, you think about who was on this offensive line going back to last year. Not a single player this year starts at the same position from a year ago. In fact, the only one who's back playing along the offensive line besides Long is Charles Leno Jr.
And he wasn't starting when we saw them early in the season last year. He came on a little bit later on.
Point after, off the foot of Connor Barth, who replaces a legendary Robbie Gould. Well, what a start for the underrated Bears. 7-0.
Today's game on Fox is sponsored by Bud Light. Beer with your team on it.
Small screen, stadium-size content. Watch live local Sunday games right on your smartphone with NFL Mobile. Big play, 75 yards and a touchdown for Langford. And the Bears, the early 7-0 lead. Here's Irvin. He'll bring it out of his own end zone. Of course, they changed the rule, and he crosses a 20. Now they bring it out to the 25, so he's a yard short. Good start for Cutler and the Bears. Osweiler, the early turnover. Chicago's 7-0.
Today's game on Fox is sponsored by the Lincoln Motor Company and the exhilarating new Lincoln MKZ. By Corona Extra, who invite you to find your beach. And by Lowe's.
Well, were it not for injuries through the years to Brian Cushing, he would be the leading tackler in Texans franchise history. And it looks like he is injured very early on today. And Peter Schrager will stay on top of that. We'll keep you up to date on the Brian Cushing situation. Miller off the left side, penalty flag down on a 1st down carry by Lamar Miller.
Holding, number 74 offense. 10-yard penalty remains. 1st down.
That's a left tackle, Chris Clark, who fills in for the injured Pro Bowler Dwayne Brown, who begins the year out with a quad surgery.
And Chris Clark has experience, okay? He played for the Denver Broncos when they went to the Super Bowl and lost to the Seattle Seahawks. He was a starter there. Look at him, blocked up by Mitch Unrein. And there it is right there, the left hand on Unrein's pads. Easy call for the officials.
That backs him up inside the 15. It's 1st down and 20. Osweiler, the screen to Miller. Read beautifully by one of the big linebacker free agent signs, Jarrell Freeman, along with Danny Trevathan. More on that duo later. Let's check in with our good friend Carissa Thompson for a game break.
Thank you, Tom. Green Bay at Jacksonville. Here's a sight that Bears fans are familiar with. The Packers scoring, in this case Aaron Rodgers' 6-yard run. He does it himself. In fact, that matches his 2015 total. Packers up 7-0.
Carissa, thank you very much.
So many people have Jacksonville as a trendy pick. Green Bay's been laying in the weeds all offseason. Aaron Rodgers was upset about last year. They're going to be a tough out.
Early movement by the right tackle, Derek Newton.
Number 72 offense. After this to the goal. First down.
So you had the backup offensive tackle who's starting today, Chris Clark, who has starting experience, so he's not a newbie. Derek Newton is not a newbie as well. This is his 52nd straight start, but he missed all preseason with a hamstring injury. This is his first action, so he's got to knock some of the rust off.
Bill O'Brien, 46 years young, a native of Massachusetts, in his 3rd year as head coach of the Texans. Came here from Penn State, where he was a head coach for 2 years. Little delay to Miller, and he's out close to the 10, but it brings up 3rd down and forever. They need to get to the 34-yard line for a first down.
And with their defense, I think backed up like this, I doubt Bill O'Brien takes very many real chances here, right? Doesn't take a major shot. Try and get something, punt it away, and play defense.
They're just going to hand it off, get what they can out of Miller. And he's up to the 23, and the Texans will punt it. When you look at this Bears team last year for the entire season, 14 takeaways by the defense. 14. They had a franchise low 8 interceptions, and only 4 of them by defensive backs. And already they get the pick by Porter, which leads to a touchdown, and now they get the football back. Trying to turn the corner is Eddie Royal. He's got the punter to beat, and he's finally run out of bounds after an outstanding return by a healthy Eddie Royal to the Houston 40-yard line, and the Bears are in business after the 31-yard return. Max Bulla, 53, replacing the injured Brian Cushing on defense for the Texans. 4:16 to go in the opening quarter. Chicago a 7-0 lead and beginning this drive at the 40. Langford to the 36 on a first down carry. Let's check in with Peter.
Hey, Tom, Brian Cushing is questionable to return. It was a right knee. He walked off on his own, but there's a lot of concern on this sideline about losing that guy.
Well, they've lost him nearly 2 full seasons through the years since the #1 draft pick in 2009 out of USC. Second and 6 under heavy pressure, and Cutler throws it away. There was at least the tight end Logan Paulson in the neighborhood. This is the MO of the Houston defense.
And watch this, because what they do is they essentially wipe out one sideline. See how they take them down there? And Benardrick McKinney, who's known as a run stuffer, just flashed really fast into the gap and made Jay Cutler get rid of it very quickly.
The Texans set a franchise record 45 sacks a season ago, including the top sacking duo of Watt, 17.5, and Whitney Merciless had 12. Crossing pattern, catch made, first career reception for Kevin White, who missed all of last year. Depends on the spot whether he got the first down. He looks to be short.
Crosses underneath, tucks it away, and a nice tackle by Kareem Jackson to put him down at the spot, and he reaches late. See, he doesn't have the ball outstretched early. He's trying to put it away and protect it, which is good fundamental football. But if he reaches out first, he might have gotten over that line. Instead, he had it protected and ended up a little bit short.
Well, John Fox is standing over on that sideline debating 4th down, shorter than a yard. You're at the opposition's 30.5. Do you go for it on 4th down?
I think he's going to go ahead and go for it here. I'd be surprised if he doesn't take this shot. Even though it's a revamped offensive line, I think he likes Kyle Long in there and Josh Sitton, who they just picked up from Green Bay. This may be an early chance to give that line some confidence against one of the better defensive fronts in the game.
Well, they're going to measure. They're going to come from the Bears side of the field all the way to the Texans side and
let's see how
pull the
far
chain.
It is. Yeah, let's see how far it is.
Well,
I think he goes for it. That's my prediction. I think he goes in and lines up and says, let's go ahead and get this, maybe even sneaks it with Jay Cutler. That's very short distance.
Be a 47, 48-yard attempt right now, and the way you're going on offense right now, why not?
Brand new kicker. Now, Connor Barth is deadly inside of 40 yards. Not that he's bad outside of 40. The 47, 48, I take my chances. I sneak it with Cutler here if at all possible. Let's see where Watt and Wilfork line up.
John Fox in his second season as head coach of the Bears, 61-year-old Chula Vista, California native. Second seasons wherever he's been have been quite fruitful. And now that play clock cranks up, 4th down and a yard. Cutler dropped the ball, and I don't know if he got there. He fumbled the snap from the rookie Cody Whitehair, who had a grand total of 10 snaps at center during the entire preseason. Houston football. Wow.
And that's where the gamble was really a gamble, because of the quarterback center exchange. He doesn't get it clean, and the Bears waste an opportunity.
The 4th and 1 try fails for Chicago after the botched exchange between center and quarterback. Let's go back and take a look.
I still like them going for it, and I knew that Cody Whitehair was a rookie center, but I didn't expect him not to get the ball to Jay Cutler on the snap. That looked like he left it short on the quarterback center exchange. He never got it up to the hands of Jay Cutler. But you have to take into account one thing. The 4th center Jay Cutler's worked with preseason and now the start of the regular season, just in training camp.
Aronas Krasu, the second-year center, would have been the starter, was injured early on. They used Ted Larson there. And then they went with Whitehair this week. Big run for Lamar Miller, a first down to the 47. And they have a young center who's playing today in Greg Mance.
Right there, number 65 was on injured reserve last year. He's starting for Nick Martin, the rookie. And look at how everyone matches up with people. You got a double team on the backside. Xavier Suafilo, number 71, helped lead a nice hole for Miller.
Miller is getting touch after touch after touch. He has to love being outside of Miami. This young man's never left Miami. He grew up there, played collegiately for the Hurricanes, spent his first 4 years with the Dolphins. He leads the AFC and ranks 4th in the NFL in both rushing yards and yards per carry the last 2 years, and a good start today.
Has a nose for the end zone as well. 3rd in touchdowns scored over the last 2 seasons behind Jeremy Hill and DeMarco Murray.
Into the hands of their main man, DeAndre Hopkins. And that's a first down. Well, coming up Saturday, college football kicks off on FS1 at noon Eastern. Iowa State takes on TCU. And in the nightcap, a big one. The Ohio State University Buckeyes, ranked number 4, take on Oklahoma. Kickoff 7 Eastern, only on Fox.
Oklahoma was a preseason top 5 before losing the opener right here in Houston against the Houston Cougars. In fact, he's right here in this stadium.
Play action, looking for the long ball into the end zone and batted away. Outstanding coverage on the back end by Jones Corte. That's Will Fuller, the number 1 pick, rookie out of Notre Dame. Unbelievably young receiving core here in Houston.
Did that one feel a little bit like it got away to you from Osweiler? Because it felt almost like it turned into a jump ball instead of him driving it a little down the middle of the field. You see how Fuller had to hold up and go get it, and a nice play by Jacoby Glenn, number 39, on the spot. Goes up and contests the football, knocks it away. Adrian Amos, number 38, also on the scene.
I say Jones Corte, I beg your pardon. Very well done on the back end. Crossing pattern. Looked like a clean catch to the Chicago 37. You think of 16 weeks last year. The Chicago Bears one time, the entire season led at the end of the first quarter. And they beat Oakland that day. They lead at the end of a quarter today, 7-0. Look inside some of the numbers. The Texans had an excellent opening drive, only to have Osweiler throw the interception down to the 25 of Chicago. Bears march down the field, score a touchdown, but fail on a 4th and 1 at the 30. And now across the middle. Catch is made by the rookie tight end out of Cal Anderson, but there is a penalty flag in the middle of the field just beyond the line of scrimmage. You figure that's against Chicago.
Holding. Number 39 defense. Penalty is declined. Result of the play, first down.
And again, that's Jacoby Glenn. He's playing today because of the knee surgery just 3 weeks ago. The starter Kyle Fuller.
You know how we often talk about defenses in third down situations, putting on their fast group to go after what they call their NASCAR package? I think that Houston has a NASCAR package on offense now. Will Fuller, Braxton Miller, Steven Anderson, the rookie who just caught the pass. More speed on offense.
Miller slithers his way down to the 21-yard line. Little extra pushing and shoving going on up there. That's Danny Trevathan. What a delightful young man he is. Grew up in Florida. Trevathan went to the University of Kentucky. Everybody told him he couldn't when he was drafted by Denver. The last 4 years he has been their leading tackler and now assigned on the free agent market by the Bears.
I love the fact that he knew a lot about the Bears history when we talked to him. Student of the game.
Catch is made by the rookie Urban. Short of a first down, third down upcoming. Well, we heard so much from Bill O'Brien about the 3-year quarterback turned wide receiver after an injury at Ohio State, Braxton Miller, and how they have just been completely enamored and blown away at how good he has been so far. That's in number 13, but he's not touched it yet. And that is good enough for a first down. Miller to the 11.
I think a lot of what we're seeing out of Bill O'Brien, and of course his offensive coordinator George Godsey, we're seeing a lot of those speed guys come onto the field to make Chicago identify them and have to think, okay, well, how do we match up? Then that gives you the chance to run the ball back inside with Lamar Miller, do some other things. But that young speed, you've got to account for it. And even though he hasn't touched it yet, he's still a threat out there, and the defense has to respect it.
So he actually was able to reach the 10-yard line, was Miller, Lamar Miller. So first and goal right at the 10. And a throw to the end zone. And it is incomplete. It looked like Hopkins had it. Penalty flag down. This might be against Chicago. Hopkins may have pushed off.
Pass interference. Offense, number 10, 10-yard penalty. Still first down.
Yeah, you identified the person correctly there, partner. Watch Hopkins, number 10 in white. Nice swim move. And if they're calling it on him, are they calling it on the swim move or into the route with a small little hand? Because if so, that seems a little light for me for that to be a call that goes against the receiver there. Because the swim move to get off of press coverage is standard operating procedure. Maybe they called it later in the route when you saw the hand get extended a little bit, but it didn't seem like much.
They are moving Tracy Porter. Wherever Hopkins goes is where Porter goes. Lamar Miller for only a couple of yards. It'll bring up second down after the penalty. Remember, it's second and goal now from the 12-yard line for the Texans, trailing 7-0, 2 minutes into this second quarter.
And Houston wasn't the only team that revamped. You talked about it earlier, Tom. Jarrell Freeman, number 50. Danny Trevathan, number 59. A terrific set of inside linebackers, great instincts. And they've learned to play next to each other very well in a short amount of time.
Catch made, and the first in the NFL career of Will Fuller, the fifth. Then bothered by a tender hamstring coming into this game. The 21st pick in the draft. He grew up in Philadelphia.
Jalen Strong, number 11, also on the team from Philadelphia, and it's nothing but speed in the huddle now for them. There's Fuller. We know about his speed downfield, runs better routes than he gets credit for. But look at the speed on the field now. Fuller, Miller, Tyler Irvin, 34.
But it's 3rd and goal. Osweiler in and out of the hands of Urban down at the 5-yard line, and it will force a field goal try. Boy, the penalty there is a killer. Your 1st and goal from a 10. But after the call against Hopkins, a field goal try.
Penalty hurt. Urban should have caught that, but look at the coverage by Freeman. I think it's the 2nd time this series that we were calling his name about nice coverage. Good job by the veteran guy forcing the incompletion.
Nick Novak was 3 times in 21 tries a season ago. This one spotted at the 18, 28-yard attempt right down the middle of the Texans. Score for the first time in this game, and here in 2016, 7-3 Chicago. Watt and company back on D when we return. John Simon, Jadeveon Clowney, J.J. Watt and company set to take the field defensively. The Texans trail the Bears 7-3, and this is Deontay Thompson out of the end zone. And again, they're giving you the 25-yard line if you just take the knee.
I wonder if there is, sometimes it takes a while to adjust and get that in your mind that the 20 is not the goal anymore. It's the 25. And we've seen that already in this game a couple of times.
That's a great point.
During the return, illegal block in the back, number 36, the receiving team. 10-yard penalty, 1st down.
Houston Carson with the infraction. So Jay Cutler and the Bears are off to a nice start today. They get the ball when we come back. Welcome back to kickoff weekend. So great to be back. The National Football League. We're in Houston, Texas, the home of the Super Bowl at the end of this season. What a beautiful stadium here, and great sidelines. Have the retractable dome in case you're having clement weather, but it shouldn't be that way come the turn of the new year. Cutler out of the shotgun, empty backfield, and a low throw on 1st down to White. Well, you take a look at the Bears. Key additions on both sides of the ball, including the week before the opener in Josh Sitton. You know about the draft of Floyd. Kevin White is back. They had some losses, including standout Matt Forte and Martellus Bennett. Cutler really had a decent year last year. 11 interceptions and the touchdown interception ratio, the best of his career, but he's working now with Adam Gase leaving on his 6th offensive coordinator, his 3rd head coach, and his 3rd general manager. More on that in a moment. Let's check in with Carissa Thompson for a game break.
Thanks, Tom. Well, you and Charles and I spent some time working the Big Ten. How about this guy out of Wisconsin who was last year's first rounder, and he had no touchdowns last year. Melvin Gordon now has 2 on the day. San Diego at 14-3. Tom?
Well, Carissa, your ears must have been burning. Charles and I were talking about our Big Trend travels with you a little bit earlier today. We enjoyed every minute of it. Great football. 3rd down and 3. Good protection. Now the pocket collapses, and a good throw by Cutler to Zach Miller, and a 1st down.
And how about the middle of the Bears line? Because that's going to be their strength. Whitehair is a rookie, but he's flanked by Kyle Long and Josh Sitton. And look at Sitton, 71, working on J.J. Watt and keeping him away from Cutler. Clowney almost got home working against Charles Leno Jr., number 72. But Cutler getting the ball out of his hands, and the Bears pick up a 1st down.
And now the Texans want a timeout on defense. Didn't like what they saw.
This game on Fox is sponsored by Genesis. Take a breath of fresh luxury.
A whiteout here in Houston in this season opener. 1st down for the Bears at their own 22. Chicago a 7-3 lead, just under 10 to go. In a short game, but a gain nonetheless to Zach Miller.
I think overall, I like what Chicago's doing in this game. Their offense saved the fumbled snap with Cody Whitehair. I think they're doing a really nice job against one of the better defensive fronts they're going to face all year long. And this is an offense. What John Fox said, it was like a popcorn machine in preseason. Guys were all over the place. This is the line they want to solidify. But this is the first time they're working together.
That's right.
They'll get better as the season goes on, and I think they're doing a nice job already in this game.
They're doing a really nice job. Turn and hand it off. First carry of the day for Kadeem Carey. Third-year back out of Arizona. Figures to get a lot more playing time this year.
And it's not just J.J. Watt. You've got to move Vince Wilfork, number 75. All right, you've got to try and move that guy. Look at Whitehair, 65, work on. Look at Sitton, 71, work on Watt. And a nice job by Kadeem Carey finding the open space and going over the top of the tackle of Kareem Jackson.
Chicago 2 of 3 so far on third down. This is a 3rd down and 2. Blitz coming, and for the first time, down goes Cutler in the arms of Whitney Merciless, the Akron, Ohio native, had 12 sacks a season ago.
And you remember when he got his first sack? It was game 6 last year, so he decided to get into the game early. Everyone forgets about Whitney Merciless because we're going to talk about J.J. Watt. We're going to talk about Wilfork inside. We'll talk about Clowney, and here's Whitney Merciless saying, don't forget about me, and gets his first sack of the year.
First punt of the afternoon by Pat O'Donnell. And this is Irvin. That's a nice, nifty little return. Tiptoes his way to the 38-yard line. So Merciless gets the sack. And now Houston a chance to take the lead for the first time. .803 to play until halftime, and first down, it's Lamar Miller. And he's up to the 42-yard line.
Whitney Merciless beat Bobby Massey on the last sack. Look to the right of your screen. And he gets to Jay Cutler. There's Massey, number 7, who came over from Arizona in the offseason. Kyle Long last year played right tackle. Back at his natural spot at guard. And he's getting a little emphatic there with his line mate, Bobby Massey. Kyle Long just signed a new big contract. Hasn't tamped down his desire and passion to do it right, though.
No. I mean, he is the ultimate team player. Went from a Pro Bowl guard to tackle last year, just before the year began. And there's Miller out of the backfield. He'll be short of the first down by a yard or 2, wrapped up by Jarrell Freeman.
Tell you what, we talk about these Bears linebackers, and I think we're going to talk about them all year long. Trevathan is supposed to be the speedy one, but who's the guy we've seen in coverage a lot? It's been Freeman. He's done a very nice job. Came over from the Indianapolis Colts. Has played well. Had 3 years in Canada and Saskatchewan. He's done very well in the NFL.
And he's a native Texan. Jarrell Freeman grew up in Waco, Texas. Need to get to the 49, 2 yards. And there for the first time today, good enough for a first down, the first NFL touch for the former Ohio State Buckeye standout quarterback, Braxton Miller.
And we knew that they liked him. I was talking with the general manager, Rick Smith, and he mentioned Braxton Miller in effusive terms. Bill O'Brien did the same. But remember in our meeting as Bill left, he's like, you know, I got to go make sure we got enough plays in the game plan for this kid. And I don't think he was doing it for effect. They really like what he brings to the table.
Well, it's really an amazing story, and I think anybody who followed Braxton Miller in college, I mean, he was so highly sought after coming out of high school. Huber Heights, Wayne, just outside of Dayton, Ohio. And arguably over a 3-year stretch, he was the best quarterback in college football. He won more awards, individual awards, than any player in the history of the Big Ten Conference. 2-time Big Ten Player of the Year. And then in the Orange Bowl, he injured his throwing shoulder, missed an entire year. And when they brought him back, he had to change positions to wide receiver. And here he is a year later in the NFL. Osweiler on second down, just throws it away. That's Jones Quarte over on the sideline. Second year out of Findlay. It's a small college in northern Ohio.
And that hurts him because Deion Bush, who normally would be a backup safety, is down today. So they're going to have to make some moves back there. Maybe DeAndre Houston Carson, a rookie, or Chris Prozinski, who I think will probably get the first call back in the secondary first.
It's a 3rd down and 6. Osweiler fires to the far sideline, and that is a catch by DeAndre Hopkins. He had 111 of those with 4 different quarterbacks a season ago.
Look at that, just a speed move to the outside. Tracy Porter not able to get there fast enough. And how about the strength of his hands on that catch, as well as field awareness to stay in bounds.
It's Tyler Irvin who checks into the backfield. He picks up close to 4. I think it was incredible what Hopkins did last year with 4 different quarterbacks, but you like his kicks there.
Yeah, I'm going to get back to the 4 quarterbacks, but those are Yeezys, right? Those are the ones that Kanye West sent to him and said, hey, why don't you try these out? And he said that he might do so, and he's actually wearing them in the game. And he said that they're pretty darn comfortable. But I like his hands, and I like what you're talking about. 4 quarterbacks, 100-yard games, amazing.
Well, they're back in there and very close to a first down. We'll tell you when we come back, but again, back to Carissa Thompson for a game break.
You got the Bengals and the Jets. The Jets are now up 13-10, but right before that, A.J. Green, the recipient of this Andy Dalton throw, 54 yards. Darrelle Revis isn't going to be happy with that. I just want to know when Tom's going to get some Yeezys.
Well, after Charles does and after you do, Carissa, I will join the fray. Third down in the yard, and that's a fullback Ray carry by Jay Prosh. He started his collegiate career, did Prosh at Illinois, and then transferred to Auburn.
Hey, hold me up here. Hold me up. Was that a fullback who carried the football?
Yes, it was.
Is there fullback still in the game of football?
Both of these teams have one.
How great is that? I'm loving it. And you mentioned Prosh, Illinois, Auburn, a true weight room warrior, set records in both weight rooms, both campuses, and now doing it in the NFL.
Clock down to 3:20, first down, and look into the end zone. He has Hopkins, and he has a touchdown. If the play stands, that's the first touchdown as a Houston Texan for Brock Osweiler.
So the first thing, because every scoring play is reviewable, we know that. So let's see if he caught it first. Good concentration, because Porter makes a play on the football. He catches it, goes to the ground, everything's down. That's a touchdown. Possesses it all the way through. And similar to what we saw on the scoring drive by Chicago, the defensive back's head never gets around. See, Porter, he never sees the football. He's just trying to make a play on the arms of DeAndre Hopkins. As a defensive back, you're taught if you don't see the ball, when the arms come up, try and play your hands through theirs, and he comes up just a count too late. And Hopkins, with excellent concentration and focus, catches it, possesses it, and Houston gets a touchdown.
So now the point after for Novak. And he sneaks it inside the right upright. So Chicago jumps out to a 7-0 lead. The Texans have scored 10 unanswered. Everything changed on that 4th down and 1 play.
Yes.
That was the botched snap under center, Cutler, and they had to give it back to the Texans.
The rookie center, Cody Whitehair. So let's look at how he wins this route. Right off the line of scrimmage, and he gets Porter turned, and right there, when Tracy Porter no longer sees the football, he's trying to do almost a technique where, okay, I don't know what's there, but I'm sensing it's coming because your arms are coming up. He does everything possible, but I thought the concentration and the strong hands and focus of Hopkins finished off the play. Because once he turned it, now Porter never sees the ball, and Brock Osweiler knew that. And that's why he considered him open and put the ball out there for him.
You know, you talk about the 4 quarterbacks last year, and the primary guys were, you know, Ryan Mallett, Brian Hoyer, T.J. Yates, Brandon Whedon. They combined to throw 29 touchdowns, only 12 interceptions. Now, on the surface, those numbers aren't all that bad. but the completion percentage just barely above 55%. And oftentimes it's the plays that weren't made that you never hear about as opposed to those that were made. And the return out to the 23-yard line by Deontay Thompson.
And J.J. Watt, who's made a tremendous return to play right here in the opener, but he's had his troubles. Right there, Bobby Massey rode him out of the play, knocked him aside. There he is working with Massey, and then he gets chipped by the back Langford, which you have to do. It's usually not one-on-one, but Kyle Long does a nice job holding in there and establishing and holding his ground. J.J. Watt, 14 snaps out of the 18 plays, has 1 quarterback hit. He had 50 quarterback hits all of last year. But don't think that J.J. Watt won't have an impact before this game is over.
So now Cutler and company, 3:07 to go, and wide open is Jeffrey, and that's a first down up to the 38-yard line.
They're a different team when he's helping, because Jay Cutler has his dependable go-to guy. Here comes number 17, works inside against Jonathan Joseph. Coming over the top is Quentin Demps for the tackle, but a really nice strike by Cutler to Jeffrey.
Bears have all 3 timeouts plus a 2-minute warning. And that's Langford out of the backfield. He is wrapped up at the 43-yard line.
Josh Sitton, 71. Remember the shockwaves around the league when Josh Sitton was cut by Green Bay? Everybody said, well, what? Chicago jumped on him early, and you see why. This is a Pro Bowl, all-pro guard doing yeoman's duty against J.J. Watt early in this game.
Made 112 starts in his 8 years as a Packer, 3-time Pro Bowler. Langford tripped up, excellent penetration by Kareem Jackson into the backfield. And that will take us to the 2-minute warning. A third down coming up. The Bears with the football trailing by 3. We invite you to follow your favorite team all season long. Just go to itunes.com/NFL. Bears 2 of 4 on third down. 2 minutes to go until halftime. Houston a 10-7 lead. And it's third down for Chicago. They need to get to the 48-yard line. Cutler hit as he throws, and it floats out there incomplete to Kevin White. Took a big hit again by McKinney.
That would have been that was a difficult catch, but one that they sorely needed. Watch McKinney. He's going to end up looping here and coming back around to get Jay Cutler. See, he starts there. Now he comes around, and he's right in the grill of Jay Cutler. So he couldn't get everything on the throw, and it fell a little bit short and made it a tough attempt by Kevin White.
Boy, was that a hit right into the rib cage of Cutler. You could feel the umph. His exhale all the way here in the 5th deck. Fair catch made by Irvin at the 12. All right, how about it, Kurt Menefee? What's coming up at halftime?
Coming up on the Visa Halftime Report live from Houston, we have liftoff on the NFL season. RG3 makes his debut against the Eagles. The Jets looking for the upset against the Bengals. And we'll preview the huge game between the Giants and Cowboys. That's all T-minus a few minutes on the Visa Halftime Report.
What a great set.
Wow.
Venue that was. Great stuff.
Tell you what, our guys travel well, don't they?
They sure do. Say, I'd like to travel like those pregame show guys do all year long. That's a whole different animal.
There are jobs for valets available, so you and I can get in.
Or security, bodyguards, muscle.
Either way.
I'd strike out on that end. All right, under 2 minutes and looking for the big ball down the middle. And a drop by the #1 pick, Fuller. I mean, that throw was right on the money.
And unfortunately for Fuller, number 15 in white to the right of your screen, this plays right into the scouting report of him coming out of college. You knew his speed was superior, but also in your notes when you wrote down when you watched him, you saw occasional drops that befuddled you, and that was one of them. That was the big shot right there, and they had it. Osweiler put it out there for him. He just didn't catch it.
And the way Fuller runs, no one was going to catch it.
Not a chance at all.
That should have been a touchdown. Not a big catch. That should have been a touchdown. So they took the one shot, And now with 1:30 to go, they turned and handed off. Boy, again, it's what we just said a minute ago. It's not always the plays you make. It's the ones you don't make, and that should have been 6.
You were talking about last season, but when you brought it up, turned out you were prophetic about what was going on here. The silver lining, though, is that play is going to register for Vic Fangio, the defense coordinator of Chicago. Because now you got to respect that speed, and you got to think about it every time now. So there's your silver lining if you're Houston, that you have it available, or you open up more space because you've done it.
3rd down, and Osweiler is dropped back to the 15-yard line. And in Chicago, do you think about a timeout here?
Yes, you do.
I mean, you have 50 seconds left, and they're going to be punting almost from the goal line. So why not take a shot of getting into at least game-tying field goal range?
No question about it, especially with a veteran quarterback like Jay Cutler. John Fox, Vic Fangio, those two know a bunch about defense, and they dialed up something pretty well right there to give them that opportunity, putting Osweiler on the ground, forcing the punt.
Well, we'd like to tell you, don't forget to check out Damon Wayans and Clayne Crawford in Lethal Weapon. Premieres Wednesday, September the 21st, only on Fox.
How about that? Remember Danny Glover?
Oh, man.
What was his catch line every time Mel would make something great? I'm too old for this.
That's right. And Joe Pesci a part of that, too. I mean, that's good stuff.
Leo.
Yeah, that's right. Leo.
They were always threatening to shoot Leo, weren't they?
They were. Oh, those were great movies, and I'm sure that that series that begins on Fox will be every bit as entertaining. All right, so here comes a punt by the 7-time Pro Bowler Shane Leckler. He drives Royal back to the 20. And a very short return. Boy, that's a big-time punt right there, and the tackle and coverage made by Charles James. And we tackle Carissa Thompson back for a game break.
Thank you, Tom. Here we go. Green Bay at Jacksonville. Jordy Nelson. Here we go. We've been waiting for this. Of course, he was out all of 2015. That's his first touchdown catch of the year. 14-10. Green Bay's up.
How about that? Jacksonville wearing the home whites this time because it's 90-plus degrees there. Putting Green Bay in that dark green, hoping that'll have an effect. But so far, Aaron Rodgers moving around well, has his Packers back on top.
All right, here we go. 38 ticks to play until halftime. 4 receivers set. And Cutler out of the shotgun. Steps up. And he'll run it. And dives forward up to the 37 for a first down. Clock continues to run. Not like the college game where they stop it on a first down. And a timeout called by the Bears, so they will stop it. Of course, the last game played in this stadium by the home team, they'd like to forget all about. After winning the division, a 30-0 shutout by the Kansas City Chiefs. Niall Davis, a 106-yard kickoff return to begin the game. Brian Hoyer, the quarterback, now the backup for the Bears. 4 interceptions, also fumbled.
Tell you what, my heart went out to him that day. It really did, because he had a pretty darn good year for them. 61% throwing the ball, 19 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. The stats look good, but that day finished his tenure here in Houston. There's no way they could go forward with Brian Hoyer after that game.
Cutler, the screen, what a call this is. And Langford, lots of running room. Now there is a flag down. Langford steps out of bounds. The clock stops at 24 seconds to the 44 of Chicago, but this may come back.
Number 86, offense.
Oh, boy.
10-yard penalty remains, first down.
That's Zach Miller, the tight end.
Did he get downfield blocking and extending on that screen pass? And it's too bad, because the scouting report on Miller is that he's an improved blocker from the offseason. Watch him in the slot here, 86. There's a block there. He gets downfield. I'm not quite sure what they're... That seemed to me like he was doing all the right things.
That's hard to believe.
That's a tough one. That's a tough one for the Bears.
All right, Cutler now looking the long ball. That's Alshon Jeffrey down there, and he's got it. And Jeffrey is dragged down at the 19-yard line, and the Bears are going to stop the clock with 13 seconds left. At the 18, he beat Andre Howell on the jump ball.
And this isn't just a big-time throw by Jay Cutler. You know what else it is? It's big-time recognition by Jay Cutler. Because Alshon Jeffrey, 6'3", nearly 220 pounds. He recognized the matchup he had downfield on Andre Howell, a former cornerback now playing safety, who's 5'10", 195. You put it up in the air and say, go get it, big guy. As one receiver used to tell me all the time, I used to tell my quarterback, put it up on the top shelf where the kids can't get it. And I've got that one. And that's what Alshon Jeffrey just did.
All right, so now the Bears are out of timeouts. 4 catches, 105 yards for Jeffrey. 13th career 100-yard game, 5th most in Bears history. One behind the great Mike Ditka. Boy, there's a Chicago Bear name. Ditka. Going up top, misread there. And it's incomplete, 8 seconds. Do you run one more play? As the Texans now are going to spend timeout. Charles, the Bears are out of timeouts. Do you take one more shot at it, or do you go ahead and kick the field goal?
I'm kicking it now because let's go back to the 4th down and 1 play. That was the Cody Whitehair quarterback center exchange, right. Young center, that maybe you get a little more amped up in a pressure situation. I've come this far. I want the points right now. I know he trusts Jay Cutler. He got 13 seconds now instead of 8, so that changes things a little bit. I thought they had 8.
Yes, it does.
So
that
with 13,
play never happened.
Yeah, so with 13, you're good to go. You run one more, and then you make sure you have your guys ready to go. Because you can trust Cutler with his veteran experience to understand what to do with the ball in this situation.
Connor Boyd has not attempted a field goal try so far in this opening half. Pete Morelli going to tell us what exactly is going on down there. He looks like he's wondering the same thing.
Because the clock had run before, right? And as you said, that play didn't happen, so we were back to 13 seconds. Right. But now, okay.
All right, we're just doing it.
Okay, here we go again.
Try it again. Those are the yards we were talking about. Alshon Jeffrey nearly double the rest of his team collectively. 54 on that last catch a moment ago.
Look for the quick outs or fade to the end zone to a big receiver.
Looking at the end zone, and it is a touchdown for Chicago, Eddie Royal. What a job by Jay Cutler in the final minute of this opening half.
And I thought he would go out wide to Kevin White or Alshon Jeffrey. He played small. He ends up going Royal inside here, and watch the route. Royal gets on top of Kareem Jackson, turns him, and then has his body in front of him. And Andre Howell comes over late in a big-time catch by Eddie Royal. Remember the rookie year he had with Jay Cutler in Denver? Looks like they're starting things up again here this season in Chicago.
Well, the Bears last year, their top 3 wide receivers, White, Jeffrey, and Royal, as a point after is good, combined to miss a total of 30 games last year. White didn't play at all. Royal played in a total of 9 games around ankle and knee injuries. And Jeffrey played in 9 games, but only 8 games did he start and finish a game. That's a lot of weapons.
And how about Jay Cutler? All right, he fooled me with the big guys out wide, but look at the eyes of Jay Cutler. And that drive was 3 plays, 75 yards, took him just 31 seconds. And look at that, clear sight lines to throw the football. So your next kudo goes back again to this offensive line that we've talked about all game. Revamped maybe, but playing pretty darn well so far in this game. How about the sight line, able to step through and fire easily. And Jay Cutler throws the strike to Royal, and the Bears are back on top.
Charles mentioned it. Look at that. 75 yards in 3 plays, 31 seconds.
You know, sometimes you always hear the criticism of Jay Cutler for so many different reasons, Tom. But if you mentioned it earlier, how many offensive coordinators again?
6.
Okay. You're cycling through verbiage, terminology, and he has matured so well in handling it, and he's played that way here in the first half too.
Remember, Chicago will get the ball to begin the second half. The Bears won the toss. So Cutler and company will get it right back. Cutler making his 98th start as a Chicago Bear today. Last year only threw 11 interceptions, and that had been really his sort of MO. The big moment would throw the pick.
Yep. Just threw 11 last year, right? 21 touchdown passes, the least amount he's thrown in a game where he's played, I mean, a season where he's played 15 or more games.
Right.
So it's a great year for him.
So if you're Jay Cutler and the Bears, you got to feel mighty good about this. First half, big underdog on the road, and you go to the locker room leading 14-10. And we now go to Kurt Menefee at Discovery Green here in downtown Houston for the Visa halftime. Today's excitement brought to you by the new Nissan Titan. Early on, an interception thrown by Osweiler. It led to a Chicago touchdown. But then after a failed 4th down by the Bears, 10 unanswered for the Texans, including the touchdown pass to Hopkins. But then the 2 big throws on the final drive to Jeffrey, the touchdown to Royal. And that was today's excitement brought to you by the new Nissan Titan. So come on up to the broadcast booth, Mr. Davis, and let's talk about this first half. You know, we brought it up earlier. The Bears last year finished 6-10, but they had 7 games that were decided by 3 points or less. You know, a couple of those go your way, you're feeling pretty good. Season opener would be a nice time to win one on the road.
No doubt about it. And John Fox, when we talked about him in our meeting, he said we thought we could have been one of those teams that kind of hung around there and maybe made it into the playoffs. But that 3-4 record in those 7 games that were decided by a close margin, that ended up hurting them. So they love what they saw in the first half. An offensive line is playing together for the first time, played very well, ran the ball decently, protected Jay Cutler for the most part, and put up 14 points. Now flip it over to Houston. You know what they're thinking about? A fast start. They've got to get off to a quick start in the second half.
All right, Bears get the football, and here's Deontay Thompson, and he is tripped up at the 15-yard line, and we check in downstairs with Peter Schrager.
Tom, the big story coming into this one was the return of J.J. Watt. He was relatively quiet in the first half. John Fox, coach of the Bears, said, oh no, the pressure will be coming in the second half. We're well aware we're not getting complacent. As far as Bill O'Brien said, you know, his assessment of the first half, they had some opportunities. Let's get the play action going. Let's let Brock throw that deep ball. You got to sell it with the play action.
Cutler started the game very hot, 10 of 13, 156 yards and a touchdown. Then cooled off for a little while after that failed 4th down and 1. But boy, did he finish strong. 6 of 8, 100 yards and a touchdown, and a first down give, and a first down solid run by Jeremy Langford. Wrapped up by Bulla, who's in for the injured Brian Cushing. Anything stand out here for you?
Well, for me, it's the point, the takeaway and the points off of it for Chicago. When Tracy Porter got the interception, they turned that into 7 points, and that's helped give them the lead. I love the late drive by Chicago that you mentioned with Cutler. But all in all, with the stats, if Houston keeps running the ball the way that they have, 102 yards in the first half, that'll set up the play action that Bill O'Brien wants, that he told Peter Schrager.
Second down and 5, and they're faking one way, and Cutler looking down the field. And a miscue there. It's intercepted by Andre Howe. And a big turnover by Cutler on this opening drive, the second play of the second half.
And this is going to go on Jay Cutler's record, but watch Kevin White. Second year in the league, but first year playing. Remember, he missed all of last year with an injury. He just stops right there on the route, and Cutler expects him to go out into the flat. He puts it there, and you see it right there. You have to keep going, young man. You've got to keep moving. And instead, that turns into a nice interception for Houston, and they're in business.
Well, you may remember the third preseason game, Cutler climbed all over Kevin White on the sideline. And then White played brilliantly that final game. might be some jawing going on down there now. This time, Will Fuller hangs on inside the 5, and it's 1st and goal. That was a tough catch.
Tough catch, but what did Bill O'Brien tell Peter Schrager? Play action. Watch the route. Coming right in here, and he's working against Jacoby Glenn, number 39. And look at that. And that ball's right there. And the one that he dropped earlier, that should have been a touchdown, the deep ball, he catches that one in traffic.
1st down and goal. It's Miller. Tries to cut it back to the inside, and a penalty flag is thrown from behind the line of scrimmage.
Holding. Number 79, offense, 10-yard penalty, still 1st down.
That was a quick call right there. It's Jeff Allen who's trying to fill the shoes of Brandon Brooks, who took off for Philadelphia.
Yeah, that's to tell you, they've got to go over some things, obviously, with Kevin White, but there are going to be some growing pains because he missed the entire season last year. You can be in meetings, you can be around the team, but if you're not out there executing and understanding things, and don't forget, at West Virginia, not much of a route trip.
Right.
Go get open, find your way, and he made phenomenal plays. In the pros, it's a little bit different about what he has to get done, and that one cost him.
All right, so now it's 1st and goal from the 15-yard line. Empty backfield. Osweiler, and miscommunication there perhaps with another rookie, this time Braxton Miller.
So you got a rookie receiver and a quarterback in his 1st year with a team. Miller goes in, Osweiler throws it out. Miller 13 to the outside. Watch him come underneath and watch where the ball goes. So they'll have to work on that one as well.
2nd down and goal.
Got Lamar Miller split out here, taking advantage of his full arsenal of talents.
Osweiler is looking all the way at the tight end, Steven Anderson. That is his 2nd catch of the game. It brings up 3rd and goal from just outside the 10.
What a great story is Steven Anderson. You know, he was a walk-on in college, battles, earns a scholarship at Cal, undrafted in the NFL, makes the team. So essentially, he's walked on twice and made it to the next level and has sub 4.6 speed that they love at the tight end position.
3rd down and goal. Miller in the backfield alongside Osweiler. Hopkins at the top of your screen. Great coverage right there. He had an eye on Braxton Miller. But running right alongside is Bryce Callahan, so the penalty really hurts the Texans here. The field goal try.
Leonard Floyd, or where's Floyd? Let's see. Watch the pressure. Top of your screen, 94. See him put the pressure on, made him step up away from it. And then as he tried to complete the pass, Bryce Callahan, 37, a graduate of Rice right here in Houston, makes the play.
All right, so now a game-tying field goal try for Novak. Be from 28 yards away. Good snap. And it is blocked, but it still gets through. I beg your pardon, that brings them within a point. 14-13. How sweet is that?
Sheriff McManus did everything he could, number 27 for the Bears. He got his hands on the ball. And how about that, still sneaking over the crossbar?
Beautiful. That is beautiful camera work there. All right, so the Bears will get it back. Cutler the interception to begin this 2nd half, and Thompson learns a lesson this time. He'll say, give us the ball at the 25. All right, next Saturday, FS1. Noon Eastern, Iowa State takes on number 15 TCU, and then the big one in the nightcap. Urban Meyer and the 4th-ranked Ohio State University Buckeyes go to Norman to take on the Oklahoma Sooners. Kickoff 7 Eastern, only on Fox.
That's a heck of a game. And look at this 2nd half differential. This is last season for the Houston Texans. Plus 95 in the 2nd half. But their goal is to start fast in the season. They were 2-5 before finishing 7-2. It's been an emphasis in the offseason, and they need to get it started here today.
That's big old Vince Wilfork wrapping up Langford. Second year in Houston after 11 outstanding seasons in New England.
I mean, look at 75, all right, and watch the push, watch the movement, watch the look at that. Plays through the blocks and gets into the backfield. They say he reported in the best shape he's been in the last 4 or 5 seasons and breezed through their preseason conditioning test. I know it doesn't look like it, but he did.
5-time Pro Bowler, 7 times a team captain, twice a Super Bowl champion. Cutler in all kinds of trouble, and he almost threw it right in Wilfork's belly.
And we're not being facetious here. Vince Wilfork has some of the best hands on the team. If you watch him work the jugs gun, watch 75. He senses it, feels the play, and then falls back into the coverage. And look at the pressure there. Clowney and then Watt. Clowney flushes him. Watt finally gets a hit on him. But Wilfork almost came up with a big interception.
So now the big fellow get a breather and run around a lot. His last 2 plays. Cutler stands in there looking down the field, and he'll just tiptoe out of bounds. Clowney in hot pursuit, and the Bears will punt it away.
So why was the pursuit so good? Let's see if there's any place to go with the ball. I'm not finding anywhere. They plastered themselves to the receivers very well. There's Kevin White, and Jonathan Joseph says no, nothing there. And Clowney was in hot pursuit. Jadeveon Clowney is healthy, playing defensive end, and I think that's going to make a difference in his production.
You know, many forget that Clowney underwent that microfracture surgery to his knee his rookie year. That is very, very difficult to come back from. It takes a while, if you come back at all. Fair catch into 30. Osweiler and the Texans down a point. Welcome back to kickoff weekend. We're delighted to have you with us to start the first Sunday, week 1 of this National Football League season. And brother, we've got a good one right from the get-go here today. Bears and the Texans duking it out. Chicago a 1-point lead. Brock Osweiler, the quarterback, a first down from his own 31-yard line. Osweiler incomplete. What a journey to get here. Signing that 4-year contract. $72 million second-round pick in 2012 by the Broncos. Played collegiately at Arizona State. He only played 1 full year and then declared himself ready in the draft. Grew up near Glacier National Park in Kalispell, Montana. Outstanding basketball player. Ball's on the ground. And it looked like from up here that Miller was able to pounce on top of it. Akeem Hicks, who had an excellent preseason, appeared to strip it away right there.
Look at the big man. Beats the block inside by Greg Mance and pops the ball free. Almost a huge takeaway by the Chicago Bears. Houston fortunate to jump on that one and keep possession.
Big expectations for Hicks. Started his career in New Orleans. 3 games into last season, traded to New England and played very well for Bill Belichick. 3rd down, 15. Overthrow to Fuller. He was open, got behind the defender, and a big hit delivered by Lamar Houston on Osweiler.
I certainly felt like he felt the pressure on the backside, and he ended up putting more on the throw than maybe he anticipated, because he had him out there, he had the step, but I think he felt the pressure and really launched it and ended up throwing it too far.
Punt by Leckler, his 223rd consecutive game here today. And a return by Royal. He's dropped in the 40-yard line by Charles James. Good defensive stand there for the Bears. A tight one in Houston. Welcome back to Houston. Chicago with the football and the lead. Just under 10 minutes to play in the third quarter. A very slow start offensively for Cutler and the Bears. To begin the second half, it's their third possession. And a good run by Langford. That'll be a gain of 15 on first down.
See Osweiler on the bench after their last series. I think he feels like he missed an opportunity of that last throw. You know, the deep ball there with Fuller. I think that's what he was looking at when he's looking at what they used to call the Polaroids coming down, the pictures. There was the chance. And they missed it.
First two possessions of this half, 5 total plays before that run by Langford. An interception, 3 yards, and a punt. But a good start to this drive, and it forces Houston to call a timeout. Charles Davis, Peter Schrager, Mike Pereira, Tom Brenneman in Houston, Texas, our entire NFL on Fox Sunday crew. And Langford, after a 15-yard gain, barrels forward close to 7 yards on first down and into Texan territory to the 39-yard line.
You know, on the break, you and I were talking about Jeremy Langford, Michigan State kid. Why was there? He played cornerback, wide receiver, and running back. And at one point, 16 straight games of over 100 yards rushing against Big Ten opposition. I think he gets better as the game goes on with more carries.
He's 7 yards behind the quarterback, and he is met right away by Max Bullock. That's another Spartan on Spartan teammates in Michigan State there. Bullock and Langford. We check in with Carissa Thompson.
Tom, we're heading to Atlanta for this one. Tampa Bay Falcons, Austin Seferian-Jenkins, 30-yard touchdown catch from Jameis Winston. You guys, that's his 3rd touchdown pass of the game. You know, fantasy owners love that. Bucks up 24-13.
Carissa, Jameis Winston lost a bunch of weight in the offseason, really looks good. And Austin Seferian-Jenkins got lit up by his head coach in the offseason, and he's coming out playing well.
Yeah, Jameis Winston. Everybody wondered, was it him or Mariota? He had a solid first year. Cutler escapes trouble, throws it in the air, contact made, and a late flag comes in. It looked like Royal got tangled up with Kevin Johnson, the #1 pick from a season ago.
But Houston seems to feel like it's going to go against
Pass
Chicago.
interference on the offense, number 19. 10-yard penalty. Penalty is declined. 4th down.
Watch to the right side there. You see that last little hand there, I think is what they called, with Royal trying to create a little space against Kevin Johnson, who's coming back from some surgeries of his own in the offseason. A pin in one foot, fractured wrist that had some surgery, knocking the rust off. And boy, are they excited about that kid. And I think overall, they believe that he's their best cornerback.
Well, the bottom line is that is a drive that will stall. That was a pretty good looking drive there for Chicago. And the punt by O'Donnell, and Dobrin trying to pin him inside the 10-yard line. And a fair catch of the 8. You know, the Texans had a busy offseason, especially on offense. Plenty of key additions through the draft and the free agent signing of Osweiler. They lost Arian Foster. Talked about Brandon Brooks. Osweiler played well in his 7 starts in place of Peyton Manning last year. J.J. Watt, 3rd time in the last 4 years he's been named the NFL's Defensive Player of the Year, but he underwent groin surgery and then underwent back surgery to J.J. Watt on July the 21st. He's never missed a game. Much running room on first down for Lamar Miller. Let's check in downstairs with Peter Schrager.
Tom, you talk about the additions to the Texans. Obviously, Brock Osweiler and Lamar Miller were big free agents, but how about the draft picks and how often they're being used here? Both Will Fuller, the fifth, and Braxton Miller, that adds to a wide receivers room. Where, get this, the senior guy in it is DeAndre Hopkins, who's 24. Fuller's 22. Jalen Strong's 22. Braxton Miller also 24.
And Keith Mumphrey will fight with you, Schrags. He says, I'm one day older than Hopkins, but Hopkins is the one who plays.
Second down, good protection for Osweiler. Crossing pattern, and the catch again made by the rookie tight end, Steven Anderson, but he's short of a first down, wrapped up by the Bears' leading tackler last year, Adrian Amos.
Good connection from Osweiler to Anderson, but how about this tackle by Amos? But they always tell you, he's a defensive back, put him down on the spot. Don't give up any yards after the catch. And Amos did not. But to Schrags' point, really good point. DeAndre Hopkins is the guy who leads that wide receivers room, yet he's just 24 years old himself. He's taken over for Andre Johnson as the guy who's showing the young kids how to do it.
Get the feeling this is a big third down for the Texans. And complete. A first down to Hopkins. By a yard, Bryce Callahan trying to hunt down Osweiler. A step late.
And watch this, because Osweiler has to see this coming at him late. Bryce Callahan comes at him, and he does a nice job, does Osweiler, of seeing it, shifting his feet, moving his body enough to change his arm angle and get the pass downfield for a first down. That was a free runner that could have turned out to be a big-time hit.
Play action. And slammed, sandwiched to the deck is Osweiler, and that's the first career sack. There'll be many, many more for the #1 pick out of Georgia, Leonard Floyd.
Well, who got him from the opposite side? Here comes Floyd from here. Let's see who gets him coming back in the face of Brock Osweiler. I think it's number 91 on that play. That's Eddie Goldman. And they end up meeting at Osweiler. And remember the big hit he avoided from Bryce Callahan? One play later, he took it from those two big fellas.
Yeah, and there's a difference between getting hit by Callahan and being hit by Floyd and Eddie Goldman.
Yeah. I mean,
it's about 600 pounds apiece. They hand it off to Miller, second down and forever, and now third down upcoming.
Eddie Goldman can wear Bryce Callahan as a necklace.
That's exactly right.
That's a whole different deal.
Okay, Eddie Goldman's a nice-looking player now. Had an outstanding rookie year. Played in 15 games with 12 starts. He'll catch a breather. Had 4.5 sacks as a nose tackle. It's a nice year.
And he spent his off-season working on his body and his conditioning. Lost a few pounds. He's got strong, heavy hands inside that allows him to beat the opposing blockers.
All right, now they've had Fuller twice. He dropped one, and the other time Osweiler overthrew him. Dangerous throw in traffic. Hopkins trying to reach out there for a first down. Where do they spot it? He needed to get to the 31-yard line. And he appears to be short.
But what a play. What a catch. See, Brock Osweiler totally relied on DeAndre Hopkins there because he was covered. All right, this is good. This is truly a contested catch. Because look at the coverage. And look at Hopkins go up and get it. You know, we talk about Osweiler being an old basketball player. Hopkins looked like a guy rebounding on that play, blocking out the defensive back and making the catch.
Now the punt by Leckler. Back up Royal all the way to the 11. And he stayed on his feet, but then is spun down at the 14-yard line. First man down there. We've called his name a lot today. Charles James doing a nice job of it. Take a look at the quarterback comparison thus far. Really about even.
It is in a lot of ways. I think that drive before the end of the half showed Cutler's experience and veteran savvy that put the points on the board and gave Chicago the lead.
The Bears with the ball, they lead by a single point. And on first down, it's Langford who carries for the 14th time. He's up over 50 yards, so just under 40 yards, 4 yards per carry.
And I know John Fox wants a wave of running backs. He wants a lot of guys touching the ball and carrying the ball. I think that Langford's the type that responds better to more carries deeper into the game. So I would look for him to be that so-called hot hand guy down the stretch.
3 minutes to play here in the third quarter. Good protection, looking for Jeffrey. And no penalty flag. Outstanding coverage by the two-time Pro Bowler, Jonathan Joseph. Boy, he's had a good career.
He's terrific, isn't he? Pro Bowler, Cincinnati first, here in Houston. Look at that. Stop and go. Sees it. Now you see how he got his eyes back towards the quarterback. Found the football. That's a big reason why they don't pull the flag there. If he doesn't have his eyes back towards the quarterback, they're probably throwing the flag. And there's Cutler, again, feeling the pressure and taking a little bit of a hit.
It's not always the monster hit that causes
those little
the pain and the injury. Yeah. Sometimes you catch somebody just right, kidney, ribs. Cutler steps into that one, and it's dropped by Jeffrey. Boy, that's a catch that's got to be made, and Alshon knows that would have moved the chains. Instead, they'll punt.
Was he getting jostled a little bit at the end? I want to see this again. Big time throw by Cutler. And there's Jeffrey. No, he wouldn't get jostled at all. That ball just ate him up. When it's one that normally he smothers it and catches it.
Jeffrey had the back-to-back 1,000-yard receiving seasons in 13 and 14. Went to the Pro Bowl 2013. And then hurt about half of last season. Fair catch at the 35-yard line, and that's where Osweiler and the Texans will get it. And we will shoot from Houston to Los Angeles. And here's Carissa Thompson.
Thank you, Tom, and head straight to New Orleans because we've got the Raiders and the Saints. Brandon Cooks with a 98-yard touchdown catch from Drew Brees. That is the longest of Drew Brees' career. It is Brandon Cooks' second touchdown of the day. The Saints are up 24-10. Tom?
Saints hoping for a big bounce back here, and really a chic pick by some. You brought up Jacksonville earlier. The Raiders have been another team.
Raiders have been talked about so much as underrated that they can't be talked about that way anymore. You know, everybody keeps talking about them being a surprise. It's not a surprise anymore. Everyone's discussing it. They should compete for the AFC West. They built themselves to that point.
We heard a bunch of people talking last night, said, hey, look out for the Kansas City Chiefs. They are getting boat raced at home so far today by the San Diego Chargers.
Did not see that one coming.
Well, you know, Kansas City, though, don't tell the Houston fans that what happened in the playoff game, but against good teams, they have a hard time scoring touchdowns regularly. Osweiler steps into that throw, and it's Miller to the 41. It'll bring up 3rd down and 5 for the Texans. Both teams have been very, very, very quiet here in the second half.
A 3rd and 5. Leonard Floyd got home for his first sack with Chicago recently, correct? I keep a good eye out for the rookie, number 94, and his presence makes guys like Lamar Houston, number 99, that much more effective off of the edge on the other side. Here's Floyd. Here's Houston.
3rd down. And the catch is made by Fuller. Stays on his feet, cuts it to the inside, and look out. And he is caught from behind to the 30-yard line, and a good thing Jacoby Glenn was able to trip him up. But that young man is long gone.
How about watching the inside of Houston's offensive line? They've got 2 backers in the A-gaps. One drops out. Freeman comes, but Lamar Miller picks him up. And out on the edge, Chris Clark did a nice job against Leonard Floyd, and that allowed Osweiler to find Fuller, who did some real damage after the catch.
It's a gain of 27 yards.
Defense, neutral zone infraction, number 97, 5-yard penalty.
That's Willie Young.
Still first down.
Well, what a find he's turned out to be, Willie Young. His 3rd season with Chicago. You remember, he was a backup, a part-time player in Detroit when he came into the league. He had 10 sacks 2 years ago, 6.5 more last year. And when they extended his contract just before the start of the season, that man, that big, strong man, was brought to tears. He was so thankful.
Remember, he's battled back. Remember the year he had 10 sacks? He tore an Achilles at the end of that.
Yep.
Battled back to get the 6.5 last year. Look at that play.
And that's a man who made the play, as if on cue.
I think he liked that sugar you were giving him there.
I think he likes that sugar the front office is giving him more than mine. That's going to be the end of the quarter.
Yeah, I'd say that trumps yours.
I think it's probably a safe bet. All right. We're marching on to the fourth quarter. Fox NFL Sunday continues after these messages and a word from your local Fox. All right, Mr. Davis, here we go. Start of the fourth quarter. Very quiet third quarter, as we mentioned earlier, for both teams on offense. The only reason Houston scored 3 was because of an interception thrown by Cutler. And the Bears lead by a point, but Houston on the move. Second down and 5 at the Chicago 25-yard line. That's Alfred Blue, who's checked into the game. He was their leading rusher a season ago before they brought Lamar Miller in. That's why you hear Blue from the crowd.
Crowd likes him. He did a nice job for him last year. You know, battled and made as many plays as he could. Not as physically gifted and talented as Miller, but tremendous backup for him. Now 3rd and short for Houston. Looks like they're going to go heavy package. And let's see what they decide to do here.
3rd down and really a very, very short yard. And now Osweiler under center. He'll just try to lean that 6-7 frame, and he didn't get there.
And know it's so difficult about his height there. You know, you can't avoid talking about his height there because the best quarterback sneak is the ability to get down low behind people. And at 6'7", 6'8", it's hard to bend that far down and get push. He's essentially straight up and down with no force going forward. Watch. Takes the snap. You got to get down and burrow behind those guys and see how high he is right away. They popped him right up in the air, and he has no force.
All right, let me ask you a question here now. Let's assume for a second he's short. I don't think he made it. Could be wrong. Been wrong a lot before. You're behind by a point. You have an entire quarter to go. You've got how many inches away? 4th down. If you're John Fox and they are...
There's Bill O'Brien's
What is it? What's the call down there?
Is it right on it?
First down is a call. Wow.
So
and I mean, they're really upset.
Wow. So that takes, you don't even have to worry about it now, because I would have said kick the field goal with the defense Houston has. Kick it, get up, get on top, put my defense back out there.
Yeah, you got to get on top. Well, that looked like a favorable spot right there for Osweiler and the Texans.
Yeah, but if he's going to work on that sneak, he's got to do that knee bending thing and get down behind his guys and use the leverage.
That's why you just bring Braxton Miller in and let him run it.
Don't be surprised if we don't see that at some point this season.
It's been a very quiet day, though, for the rookie wide receiver. And for all they talked about him on Friday. Tell you one thing about Osweiler, he is not afraid to cut it loose, but boy, he makes some dangerous throws.
That one was really well covered by the primary defender. But watch how the secondary defender gets involved in the play. Jacoby Glenn, 39 there. And look, coming back into the play is Danny Trevathan, number 59. He used his quickness to come back on it. Glenn not fooled on the post corner. Tremendous coverage. Makes a great play on the football.
And now Glenn
hurt himself.
Will leave it. And that's bad news. They're already short because of the injury to Kyle Fuller, the knee surgery a couple of weeks ago. So Callahan was filling in for him. That moved Glenn up to the nickelback. So I would imagine we'd see number 32, DeAndre Hall, the rookie out of Northern Iowa. Yep. And Hall's in there to make the tackle on the very first play.
Not a surprise. Very physical guy. Every time coaches talk about having length on the corner, you want a long guy. DeAndre Hall is your prototype. Arms, just long arms that can get him involved in plays that you normally wouldn't. Maybe a step off a receiver, uses his length to knock it away. And he blocked 9 kicks in college. So special teams play helps him make this squad too.
3rd down and 7. Into the hands of Fuller, and he will find the end zone for the first time. Will Fuller, the fifth. The rookie out of Notre Dame into the end zone for the first time as a professional.
I know he got into the end zone, but right here makes the play. Look at that catch. He has to go all the way down and get it. That's not where Osweiler wanted to put it. But once he secured it, good blocking, great vision, and a burst gets him into the end zone.
Fuller scored 30 touchdowns in just 3 years at Notre Dame. Averaged 20 yards per reception last season under Brian Kelly. And now the Texans recapture the lead, 20-14. Well, they're excited over on that Texans sideline, and why not? Osweiler, an earlier drop in the game, Charles, as you pointed out, should have been a touchdown by Fuller, and now he does indeed find the end zone.
On a tough catch. And remember the one he caught earlier near the goal, remember, near the goal line? Another big-time catch.
And only out to the 17-yard line goes Deontay Thompson.
So you mentioned that drop from earlier on the deep ball. But since that time, Will Fuller's caught everything, including this last touchdown catch. Okay, here's the drop. And he's come back, and since then has caught everything, including that one where he went down and got it, and then found his way, sprinting into the end zone.
All right, here we go. The Bears have had a dreadful time here in the second half, and that's something, Charles Davis, you pointed out earlier. Now, some might say, you know, the college game and the pro game are a million miles apart, and there's some truth to that. But there's also a lot of truth to the fact that when Langford was at Michigan State, they loved to run the football under Mark D'Antonio, and the more he ran it, the later it got, the better he got.
They would run teams into submission. They did a Big Ten championship game against Ohio State, ran them off the field in the fourth quarter behind Langford's legs.
Well, they give it to him back-to-back plays. Bottled up that time at the line of scrimmage by McKinney, who's had a nice game. And here come the Bears. 4 possessions in the second half. 12 plays they've run for 30 yards. 3 punts and an interception.
And here comes another third down where Romeo Crennel, the defensive coordinator of Houston, can turn free his rushers.
Still a long way to go, but Chicago needs some momentum. Third down, only a 3-man rush. And you give Cutler that kind of time, he will pick you apart. And Eddie Royal, a first down reception up to the 40-yard line.
Only 2 guys were in stances for the Texans, and that was Clowney and Watt. And watch the offensive tackles for Chicago. Leno 72, Massey 70. They don't let them get anywhere close. Kyle Long finishing off a rusher inside.
Back to the ground and smashed to the deck by Max Bullock is Jeremy Langford. Also had help from Whitney Merciless. Told you Merciless from Akron, Ohio, but he played collegiately at Illinois. Fighting Illini, of course, his longtime Bear head coach Lovie Smith, now their head coach.
Tough day yesterday. North Carolina just jumped all over.
Well, see, I wasn't even going to go there.
Welcome to the Big Ten.
That's right. Second down. Set up a screen to Zach Miller. Miller, who was such an amazing story last year after breaking in initially with Jacksonville, was out of football for over 3 years. Injured. Went nearly 1,500 days between NFL touchdowns and had an outstanding season a year ago. And again, what is Romeo Crennel drawing up on defense? He only rushed 3 the last time. I'd be surprised if they did that again. Nope, he's bringing the house. Bears have it break down. Merciless caused a fumble, and let's see who covered it up. Boy, what a shot Cutler took. And somehow, some way, he has the ball, and he's walking off to the sideline.
Amazing, because the hit's going to come, I believe, here. I think Merciless comes from the backside. And then watch at the end. There's Merciless. Now watch Boye, number 21. He goes for the scoop and whiffs on it. If he gets the scoop, he goes to the end zone. But Merciless knocks it free. Boye, 21, goes for it, whiffs on the scoop. And Chicago finds a way to recover it.
So while not a sack, strip fumble. And the punt fielded by Urban. A nice return up to the 34-yard line. Boy, Cutler's taking a beating here in the second half. Been sacked 3 times and taking some major shots. Bears offense in this half, 5 possessions, 18 plays, 4 punts, an interception, and only 2 first downs. And that's Lamar Miller on first down. He's up to the 40-yard line. We're under 9 minutes to go. Our game produced today by Mark Titleman, directed by Greg Scopatoni. Alex Olson is our associate director, and our broadcast associate Jordan Wolf. Our technical producer Bob Muller. Our Fox Box operator from Michigan City, Indiana, Mike Eldridge. Thanks Scott Studley Snyder and TC Barbs, Tom Barbary up here in the booth on stats. They hand it off again to Miller. And off to the left side. It brings up 3rd down and 3. Coming up this fall, right around the corner, a show you're not going to want to miss, called Pitch. It's about one woman's emotional journey to become the first female pitcher in the major leagues. Pitch, Thursday, September the 22nd, only on Fox.
My understanding is that the pitch she's throwing, you're not touching it.
Are you saying even the Chicago Cubs couldn't hit it the way they're going this year?
The way I'm hearing it, she wants to go on the bump and take on Chris Bryant. That's the way I'm hearing it.
Well, she'd be the only one that wants to face
Yeah, exactly.
All right, 3rd down. And looking for the big one. What a throw that was. Mercy, mercy, mercy to Fuller. That was good coverage down there by Hall, and that throw was right on the button.
They might want to go. They're upping the tempo here, guys. They are upping the tempo. They have moved it up now. This isn't just your normal presto. This isn't your normal Allegro tempo, which is fast. They're going presto now.
Oh, you're dropping Allegros.
All right, they're going presto. A little very fast, and look, they got a timeout out of this deal.
Very good challenge this call.
Let's take a look again. That's DeAndre Hall, the rookie, 32. And what great concentration by Fuller as he takes it to the ground. And remember, Ty goes to the receiver, right? If you're saying it's 2 guys coming down with it, which I don't think it truly was. I think it was Fuller's football, and Hall got involved late on that one. That's got to be a catch.
Sure looks like it here.
Because he went to the ground and completed it all the way through.
And in bounds.
Well, I tell you what, let's say hello to our good friend back in Los Angeles. Always looking so dapper. One of our favorite guys at all of Fox Sports, and that's Mike Pereira. We haven't seen you all day today, my friend. How are you?
You were the first one to see me today, as a matter of fact.
Really?
It's only the 2nd review that we've had on Fox today. Good one, though. Watch this. Is a catch. He comes down inbounds, elbow, shin. He maintains control of the ball. That is the process of the catch. So to me, this is a catch. They'll lose the challenge on this one and lose the timeout. Good to hear you guys.
All right, so while they take a look, we're going to take a quick timeout. We thank our friend Mike Pereira. Nice to see him today. So 7:14 to play in this 4th quarter. That's if it stands, and it appears that it will.
It's got to stand.
That's a huge play on a 3rd down play. When you're trying to protect a 6-point lead.
And you know, this is a league that right now trying to convince everyone about what is a catch, what's not a catch, right? We're all trying to make sure we know what that is. If this doesn't go down as a catch, how are you going to convince anyone what a catch is?
After reviewing the ruling on the field, is a catch. It's confirmed.
And you know, you go back to tell you really when all this business sort of began. We were doing a season opener, the Detroit Lions at the Chicago Bears, many, many years ago when Calvin Johnson caught that ball in the end zone. I mean, if
Did everyone
the most hardcore
Bear
fan knew that was a touchdown.
Right.
And because he didn't get back up and hand the ball to the official or spike it, it was denied a touchdown, and that's a game the Bears won, thanks in large part to that call. But the debate's been ongoing really ever since that play.
And I know Dean Blandino, the director of officials and of officiating in the NFL, he and his guys have done a terrific job trying to educate us on what they're looking for, how it's going to be officiated, what they're going to try to do. Listen, I don't want to be out there making that call. All right, no. It's tough for these guys to do. But that was clearly a catch.
Bears defense badly needing a takeaway. Texans going to throw it on second down, looking to Fuller again, and it's batted away. Excellent coverage by DeAndre Hall. Excellent.
You remember we talked earlier about DeAndre Hall and the length of his arms? I think that comes into play here. Watch, Fuller beats him off the line of scrimmage, but look at him get an arm up and knock it away at the last second. And he did it without seeing the ball. Remember I talked about earlier, when the hands of the receiver come up as a defensive back, you play through those hands. And DeAndre Hall did it to perfection. And I know our colleague Peanut Tillman may not know this, but there have been a lot of comparisons of DeAndre Hall to Peanut Tillman coming out of college. One day I have to ask Peanut if he sees it.
He's working for Fox now.
Yes, I know.
Chicago to the end zone again. And just out of the reach of DeAndre Hopkins. In fact, it appeared as though he had his hands on the football. What a great throw that was by Osweiler. I mean, take a look at this throw.
Well, look at Tracy Porter working, and this time he gets his head around, sees the ball, and it was hard for Hopkins because he was looking inside. The ball came outside. He tried to adjust late, and it just goes off of his hands.
It's a big field goal attempt right here with 6:14 to go by Novak. It's hit from 28, hit from 28, and guess what? This one from 38. And it is good. So that makes it a 9-point lead. 2-possession game.
Sponsored by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
Bears have work to do. 6:10 remaining, and after the 38-yard field goal by Novak, Bears are down by 9. Short kick to the 3-yard line. It's Thompson. And across the 20 and up to the 25-yard line. Texans defense really turning up the heat here in the second half, trying to close it out. Take a look at the yards in the second half for Chicago, a total of 49. Only 2 first downs. And now the Bears, with 6 minutes to go, need to score and score quickly. And the catch made by Eddie Royal on first down.
And, you know, we always talk about J.J. Watt. He came back from all these surgeries, but what are we getting from him today? How's he been doing? Tough time there. Bobby Massey runs him around, makes it tough for him. Gets a hit, but it's late to Cutler. There he is out here wide, trying to get that wide 9 stance and get to the quarterback. And Massey runs him past the quarterback and gets some help from Kyle Long. Not the same J.J. Watt we're normally getting, but he's out there playing hard.
That looked like contact early on there by A.J. Boye. Incomplete again, looking for Royal. It'll bring up 3rd down. Take a look at the J.J. Watt story today. He's only missed 5 snaps. He's played more defensive snaps than anybody in the league since he came into the league 5 years ago.
To me, it's amazing he's here playing today after all he did to his body last year and the offseason surgeries.
Chicago just 3 of 10 on 3rd down. This is a must-have. And down goes Cutler. John Simon The one-time Ohio State Buckeye standout picks up a sack.
Look at Simon in here next to Merciless, who's also had a terrific day. McKinney, 55, he drops out. He called the stunt. He ends up coming back through the middle. Watt's there, but the play's made by Simon.
Simon is such a valuable member of this Texans defense. And there's a punt. 32-yard line. Urban is run out of bounds at the 38. So now a chance to put it on ice. Cutler and the Bears have just been dominated by this Houston defense in the second half.
During a return, holding. Number 35 of the receiving team, 10-yard penalty, first down, and timeout.
It's been this kind of second half for Cutler. Well, he's been beat up, but he's hanging in there. Today we honor and remember all those who were lost in the September 11th attacks of 2001. Hundreds of first responders who sacrificed their lives for our country. Now 15 years later, we also remember and celebrate the unity that came out of this tragedy. 9/11 has become the largest annual day of charitable engagement in the United States. To learn how you can make a difference all year round, please visit 911day.org.
I met that officer in pregame. Honor to shake his hand.
Indeed we are.
There were actually 2 fouls on the play. Holding, number 35 of the receiving team, that penalty will be declined. Taunting, number 45, that penalty was accepted for 15 yards. That is the first foul leading to a potential disqualification for number 45. First down.
Ryan Griffin whacked Jay Prosh on the back of the head and said, let's move on. We only got 4:40 to go.
You could make it 4:40 without another one of these, can't you?
Prosh in the front of the I formation. They'll turn and hand it to Lamar Miller, his first day as a Texan. Boy, he has to feel like he's hit the lottery, Charles. 25 carries for 100 yards. And 4 receptions out of the backfield. Nearly 30 touches, and he averaged just a little more than 14 per game in Miami.
He'll gladly accept these carries and catches for the extra time in the cold tub. Because every back I've ever met never turns down carries. And now he's going to get them in bushelsfuls, won't he?
Timeout. Houston, second
Houston
team timeout.
Just over 4 minutes left to go from an opening season win for these Texans. They brought in Osweiler his first game of 21 of 33. 219 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception. Of course, Osweiler's facing the man who drafted him for the Denver Broncos. Coming out of Arizona State, that would be John Fox. What do you think of Osweiler today?
Not bad. And you remember Osweiler's first start was last year against Fox's Chicago Bears.
Yep.
And he was 20 of 27, 250 yards, 2 touchdowns, and had a narrow victory in that one. Threw a pick on his first series here, but has settled in. You know, he's had a few bumpy patches along the way, but all in all, settling in nicely as he takes over as the lead signal caller for Houston.
Bottled up in the line of scrimmage again is Miller, and that's DeAndre Hall coming up to make the stop. Had help from Freeman. Chicago will spend a timeout, stopping the clock with exactly 4 minutes left and a third down coming up. Well, for Will Fuller, the fifth, 107 receiving yards. That is a team record by a rookie in their NFL debut. Congratulations, Will Fuller the fifth, and we send it back to Carissa Thompson.
Thanks, Tom. Coming up after your guys' game, most of you will see America's Game of the Week. Entering his 13th season, Eli Manning is taking on the 4th rounder, the rookie out of Mississippi State, who had an impressive preseason, Dak Prescott. It's all coming up next. Tom?
All right, Carissa, thank you. What do you think about Dak Prescott today?
I think that his maturity and poise in the preseason was exceptional, especially the game where he didn't expect to play early and Romo got hurt on the 3rd play, and he went in and played well from that point on.
Osweiler throws, and what a throw and what a catch by Ryan Griffin. That'll move the chains, and that'll all but tie a ribbon around this one.
And this is huge. Look at the eyes of Osweiler. Focused downfield, doesn't feel any pressure behind him. Excellent throw. I would say an excellent catch by Griffin. Had someone hanging on him in the back. That was number 29 on the backside there, Harold Jones-Corte. And that was a big pickup for a first down. They're in 4-minute offense trying to close this game out. And that picking up that third down there keeps them moving.
And they're going to use every single drop of that play clock. Or one would assume they would. It's under 12 now.
Chicago just has one timeout left. So you take it all the way down, run your plays.
And the Texans will spend their final timeout. 23-14. Well, you know, Charles, when we were talking about what was going on at halftime and how good the Bears had to feel about, going into halftime with a lead. They pick up the touchdown just before the first half on that final drive, 75 yards. They got the ball coming back.
Yep.
But then the Jay Cutler interception, and really from that moment on, this has been a game dominated by Houston.
Yeah, remember that interception, if I'm not mistaken, that was Kevin White.
That's right.
The first-year receiver who didn't play last year as a rookie, cutting a route short and not being where he was supposed to be, and that changed the momentum of the game. And don't forget, we're talking about one of the best defenses in the league in Houston, and they asserted themselves in the second half.
Well, the Texans, they bring back 10 of 11 starters from, as you mentioned, one of the best defenses in the NFL
like a college
last
team,
year.
doesn't
That's
it?
right. It's so rare in this day and age. So you look at what's coming up for each of these teams. You start with the Texans. That's a big one against Kansas City. They get them at home and they go on the road. Of course, Bill O'Brien used to coach under Bill Belichick.
Remember, they're getting Jimmy Garoppolo at New England in that game as well.
What about the Chicago Bears? Home opener next week against Carson Wentz. You look at the Bears and you get Osweiler in his first game. You get Wentz his second game. Prescott, what will be his third game. So, a chance at least to get off to a good start. This was a tall order opening on the road, but the next two games are very winnable games for Chicago, trying to improve upon a 6-10 season last year.
And it's a team that's hung in there, and I think they're going to be better down the road. And that's not just being Pollyanna about it. An offensive line has had, 4 practices together
That's
as
right.
this unit. So you're just getting started with them. Rookie center, working better with the quarterback. So they will find their rhythm as they go along. Defensively, I think they'll just keep getting better because I think they've got some good pieces. And remember, Pernell McPhee's not even playing yet. He'll come off of the injured reserve list after game 6, I believe.
That's right.
And Vic Fangio, John Fox, they always put together good defenses. So I think there's some optimism out there, but they'll have to execute.
Looking for the long ball again and slightly overthrown to Fuller. Boy, they're going to take a lot of those shots away. Fuller can run. He can really run. In fact, both these guys can. Him and Miller. I mean, these guys can really, really run.
Well, Fuller was timed between 4.28 and 4.33 at the Combine. I think Combine 4.33, 4.28 on his home campus. Braxton Miller was running 4.41. They're not just straight ahead fast, though. They're so explosive and dynamic with the ball in their hands, and that's what Houston really likes about them.
Fair catch at the 21-yard line, and still not over yet. 2 minutes to go exactly. 23-14 in week 1.
Today's game on Fox is sponsored by Subway Restaurants.
Final 2 minutes here in Houston, Texas. This will be the home to the Super Bowl right here on Fox. Culmination of this season. Catch made on the far side by White. And the clock will continue to run. Chicago out of timeouts.
It would be interesting to watch with Kevin White is to see how he acclimates and shakes off that interception he caused. Because when you run without confidence, you don't run quite as fast. And Kevin White's extremely fast.
Cutler's taking a beating here in this second half. That's Boyer. 5th time Cutler has been sacked today. A minute 11 to go. And they lay it off for Langford. He'll step out of bounds. Of course, those inside the division wondering what might be going on. We started the NFC North. Green Bay clinging to a 4-point lead with 3.5 to go in Jacksonville. Detroit will play later today. Told you Kansas City losing against San Diego 27-17 very late in that one. And that's White across the middle, and he makes a reception up to the 45-yard line.
Think about all the hits Jay Cutler's taken today, yet he still hangs in there for that length of time and waits to find someone clear and throw the pass. A lot of guys would be really happy, have happy feet now and exit out of there. He hangs in and makes the throw.
Minnesota stormed back to take the lead over Tennessee. And look who picks up the sack. Are they saying he's down or he threw it?
They're going to let it say that he got it out of his hands.
He got rid of it. That's J.J. Watt.
He's not going to be happy at all about this. Watch number 99. Beats Bobby Massey upfield. He's got him wrapped up. Look at it. Cutler hanging on. And Watt's like, that's a sack. Have you seen my contract? That's a sack.
I thought that was at that old in the grasp kind of rule. You know?
Pete Morelli had a good look at it and said, no, incomplete pass.
All right.
But nice for J.J. Watt to be able to continue to apply pressure and get home.
Final 28 ticks, and Cutler in trouble again. John Simon again back there.
Watt was back there again. So look at, here's Simon here, here's Watt here. Here they come. And he works a game, Simon does with Clowney. And he and Watt both arrive back there. I think Jadeveon Clowney, that move to defensive end, huge for him.
Well,
and
how big would it be if he stays healthy and you've got Watt, Clowney, and then Merciless?
And the reason they're able to move him, one, he's comfortable there, but know what the other one is? John Simon's play.
That's right.
Allowed them to move Clowney because Simon can hold it down.
That's right. Cutler guns it across the middle. It's incomplete. 4th down coming up.
So when you have that flexibility to make that move and get extra pass rushers on the field on all downs, Clowney's used to playing defensive end. That's what he played at South Carolina. And he just looks more comfortable.
Well, I tell you what, we mentioned they had 45 sacks as a team last year, and that was Clowney hurt. And Simon really playing for the first time.
Yep.
If you've got, Watt, Clowney on one side, Simon Merciless on the other side, that 45 sack season will be obliterated by Houston.
And McKinney looks like he's upped his pass rushing abilities.
Cutler steps up, throws the long ball. It's incomplete. And with 10 seconds left, the Texans will celebrate a Week 1 win. And boy, Jay Cutler is really upset walking to that sideline. Well, you take a look. The Bears look so good in the first half. 2 key plays, however, in this game. The 4th and 1. When there was the fumbled exchange between quarterback and center at the 30-yard line.
Cody
the Bears were going
rookie.
in for, it looked to be a score anyway. And a reminder, the State Farm Game Break Show coming up next. And then the opening possession of the second half when White apparently did not go where Cutler wanted him. It turned into an interception. And the Bears would not score after halftime.
And remember the 4th and 1, they were up 7 at the time.
Texans have never lost to the Chicago Bears. Curtin again. So for Charles Davis, Peter Schrager, our entire crew, Tom Brenneman, so long till next week. Here's Kurt Menefee in the State Farm Game Break Show.